This is the homework help video for Solve Systems of Equations by the Substitution method worksheet, okay? So we're going to be learning 3 ways to solve systems of equations. We learned graphing, and now this is the second way, substitution. Okay, so we're going to do the odds together, and the directions say solve for x and y using the substitution method. Okay, the steps we learned in class are, when you look at your 2 equations, look at the one that looks easiest to solve for one of the variables. And actually, sometimes you have one already solved. For example, this already is solved for x. X is equal to negative 3y. Okay, now the word substitution, you're probably familiar with the word substitute, right? For example, if myself or Mr. J get sick one day, a substitute comes into class and takes our place, okay? So that's the same thing here. Pretend that the variable is the teacher, okay? But since this over here is equal to the teacher, this is just as valuable and exactly the same as the teacher. So if the teacher, if the x gets sick, I can put this in place of the x, okay? Now these letters aren't getting sick, but what we do is we substitute in the other one, and you end up with an equation that only has one variable, and you can solve for it. So we're going to do that right now. So what I need to do, since I know x is the same thing as negative 3y, I can rewrite this bottom equation without the x. I'm just going to have all y's in here, okay? And the way I do it is, since it's the same as negative 3y, where I see an x here, I'm going to write negative 3y. So here's my 15. But I can't write x. X got sick, so the sub comes in. Instead of 15 times x, it's 15 times negative 3y. Okay? Everything else in the equation is the same. Okay, this took the place of x. I still have to write minus 2y equals 94. There you go. Okay? So now I'll just do my math. 15 times negative 3 is negative 45. So I have negative 45y minus 2y equals 94. Okay, these are like terms. I can combine them. They're both negative, so I get a bigger negative basically. Negative 47y equals 94. Okay, now my final step will be to divide both sides by negative 47. Okay, in the calculator, 94 divided by negative 47 gives me negative 2. All right, so I'm not done. I have half of my solution. Remember, a solution is an ordered pair, which is an x, comma, y coordinate. I have the y part, which is the second number. Now, it's easy to find the first number now. Since I know y is actually negative 2, over here where I have x equals negative 3y, I can rewrite that as x equals negative 3, and now I'll substitute what I got back in. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. So x is equal to positive 6. All right? That's my other one. Now you can check these by plugging these back into the equations. Basically 6 is equal to negative 3 times negative 2. That's true. And here 15 times 6. What is 15 times 6? 15 times 6 is 90 minus, here's a minus 2 times a negative 2. That's actually going to make it a positive 4. And 90 plus 4 is 94. Okay? You can also len solve these. If you haven't learned len solve, we'll be doing that soon. But right now, we're not teaching you len solve. We're teaching you substitution. So please do all of these that way. Okay? So number 2, y equals 3x, and 2x minus y equals 2. So y is the same thing as 3x. I'm going to rewrite the second equation, but I can't use y because y got sick. So instead of 2x minus y, I'm going to put 2x minus, and I'm going to put in the substitute. Instead of y, I put 3x. and I still write the rest of the equation, equals 2. Okay? This negative distributes here, and it's negative 3x now. So I rewrite 2x minus 3x equals 2. When I combine those terms, I end up with negative 1x, which you could write with the 1 invisible. Negative x equals 2. And to get rid of the negative, you could divide both sides by the negative 1. The signs will flip the other way. X is equal to negative 2. That is half of the solution. It's half of the ordered pair. It's the x portion to be specific. Now it's easy to plug in negative 2. Since that's my x value, go to one of my original equations, the easiest one. 3 times negative 2 is going to be negative 6. Okay? So I have y equals 3 times negative 2. And I get negative 6, and there's that one. And you could check that the same way. You could plug in negative 2 here, plug in negative 6 here, and do it on both equations, make sure they work. Or you can lens solve if you know how to lens solve. Let's do number 3. Y equals 2x, and 4x plus 3y equals 30. So since y is already solved, basically I know that y is the same thing as 2x. So I'm going to rewrite the second equation without the y. 4x plus 3, oh, but the y gets 6, so he goes home. The 2x comes and takes his place, so I'm going to put it in parentheses. Notice, whenever I sub in, it's a good practice to put it in parentheses, because you don't know what kind of math's going to happen when you sub it in. Okay, so there it is in parentheses, and I still have equals 30. Okay? If you take a look, it's all the exact same, except instead of y, I have the 2x in the parentheses. I do the math here. 3 times 2x is 6x. So now I have 4x plus 6x equals 30. I can combine these terms and get 10x equals 30. I divide both sides by 10. 30 divided by 10 is what? It's 3. Now, I go through these kind of fast, and I keep a constant speed. These are designed for you to pause and study it, rewind it if you need to. That's why I like doing the videos, because you can pause it. All right, so there's 3 of them. Let's continue with the odds. We're going to take a look at number 7. So, I'm going to read it real quick after I unfold the paper. This one's a toughie. I would say this might be the hardest one in the whole assignment, one of the hardest word problems we've had, and I'll explain why. James made punch for a big party. He used 1 drink of pink lemonade for every 3 gallons of Sprite in his punch. 1 gallon of pink lemonade costs $2.50, and 1 gallon of Sprite costs $5. If he spent $87.50 to make his punch, how many gallons of each type of drink were in the punch? Okay, so what are they asking? They're asking for how many gallons of each type of drink. Well, what are the drinks? They are pink lemonade and they are Sprite. Okay, now I don't like to usually use S as a variable, so I'm going to go ahead and do X and Y. Let's call X the pink lemonade and Y the Sprite. Okay? So we want to know how many gallons of each type. How many gallons of pink lemonade? How many gallons of Sprite? So define the variables. X is going to represent the number of gallons of pink lemonade. Y represents number of gallons of Sprite. Okay? Now the first equation should be pretty easy to find, because you look through here and you have 1 gallon of pink lemonade, that is X, right? Costs $2.50. So we know the $2.50 goes with the X, right? $2.50X. Okay, a 1 gallon of Sprite costs $5. So we know that $5 is going with the Sprite, which we said is Y. So we're coming up with a standard form equation here. It becomes evident to us. $2.50 times the number of gallons of pink lemonade plus $5 times the number of gallons of Sprite, and they do give us the money total, equals $87.50. So I hope that you're starting to get familiar enough to where that equation was pretty easy to find, okay? You see a total here, and you have some numbers that are going with your variables. It kind of sets itself up, standard form. The next one's tricky, okay, because it's very easy, even for math teachers, we have to kind of look at it carefully. It's easy to get it backwards, okay? Because when you read it straightforward, 1 gallon of pink lemonade, I'm going to do it wrong for you for a second. This is how it's easy to write it, but you get it wrong. 1 gallon of pink lemonade for every 3 gallons of Sprite. A lot of people read that as 1 gallon of pink lemonade for every 3 gallons of Sprite. Now here's the problem. Let's make up a number and plug it in and see if it really works. What do we have more of? We have more Sprite, right? If I'm dumping in a gallon of this, I'm dumping in 3 gallons of this, and I have 4 gallons total. 3 of those 4 gallons are Sprite. You with me? All right. So let's pretend I have 12 gallons of Sprite. I should have a lot less of the pink lemonade, right? But if I put the 12 in for y and I have this 3 here, 12 times 3 is 36. So that means if I have 12 gallons of Sprite, it's giving me 36 gallons of pink lemonade. But that's not right. There's only 1 gallon of pink for every 3 gallons of Sprite. What I'm getting at is this 3 is in the wrong place, and it's very easy to make that mistake. Okay? It's basically saying you have 1/3 of the pink lemonade. Okay? Remember, this has to be balanced. Since I have a lot less of the pink lemonade, the 3 has to go over here. So when I put 12 here, I solve for x by doing divide by 3, and it gives me 4 gallons of pink lemonade. Okay? So I have 12 gallons of Sprite, 4 gallons of pink lemonade. So all that to say is the real equation is really 3x equals y. Okay? All right, now all that said, we already have it solved for y. We know y is the same thing as 3x, so we can do the substitution. I'm going to write the first equation, but I'm not going to write y. I'm going to write $2.50 x plus 5, but I'm not writing y. Instead, I substitute in 3x equals $87.50. Okay, do the math. 5 times 3 is 15x. So I have $2.50 x plus 15x equals my $87.50. 15 plus 250 is going to be $17.50. $17.50 times x equals $87.50. Okay? Now, I put this in the calculator and divide by the 1750 to get x by itself. So, 87.50 divided by $17.50. You get 5. So the value of x is 5. That is 5. What's the value of y? We got to plug it in. That's a very easy problem to do now. I plug in 5 here because y is equal to 3x. 5 times 3 is 15. So y is going to be 15. So remember, x was the pink lemonade. 5 gallons of that. Y is 15 gallons of Sprite. Okay, I'm going to continue this on the next video. It's a little long, but I feel like it's worth it doing all the odds on this assignment.